Hello, today is Monday, November 14. We just celebrated my daughter's birthday and we are getting ready for the week ahead. Um, and today's video is about the lesson that everybody refuses to learn. What do I mean by that? Okay. I don't really care, and it's really not relevant for the purposes of this video, who you voted for, okay? You could have voted for Trump, you could have voted for Hillary, you could have voted for Donald Duck for all I care. Obviously, some people don't take it seriously because there were 11,000 votes for Harambe, or Harambe, or however you say the gorilla's name. But the thing about it is this: we're not listening to each other. And that is causing worse problems than the entire election. Now, I don't know about you, but by the time the election happened, I was so tired of the whole thing that I just wanted it to be over. And now, I wish we were still waiting for the election because people just won't shut up from both sides. And this is what I mean. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and everybody's entitled to their feelings. Those are two things that it really doesn't matter what the facts of anything is. Everybody has a right to have an opinion about everything, and everybody has a right to feel the way they do about anything. And I'm going to give you an example because, of course, I happen to have a stake on this fight, and you'll see what I'm trying to say in a minute. Now, I'm a woman, obviously, and I'm Puerto Rican. I'm not even, I don't want to say the year, but I'm going to have to. In 1987, I got married and I moved from Puerto Rico to the States. First time ever. We moved to the north. We lived in Maryland and I had never seen no snow. I had never seen anything that cold, and it was an experience all of its own, okay? I was between Virginia and Maryland because I was a Navy wife. We moved around quite a bit and we were there for 9 years. After 9 years, I don't know why, I decided to go back to Puerto Rico. And then we stayed for a bunch of years, I want to say 13, and then we moved back to the States. We moved to Florida. Now, the change in weather between Florida and Puerto Rico is not as crazy as the one from Puerto Rico to Maryland, so maybe I should have started here and then moved up, but that's another story for another day. Between both things, I've been in the States for 16 years and about 3 months. Now, the 9 years that I lived in Maryland and Virginia, and the first 7 years I lived here in Florida, did I see racism towards me or towards anybody that I know? Yes. Did I fear for my life or get scared into not leaving the house? No. Because, you just see the comment or hear the comment or see the face of people and you're like, whatever, and you keep on moving. If people want to be ignorant, that's their problem. That's not my problem. Fast forward to this election cycle, specifically the last 3 months before the election, between September, October, and November. And I personally lived through a couple of things that were bad enough that I did not want to go to the grocery store. I have a grocery store very close to my house. And I'm not going to name the store because it's not the store's fault. But I had a situation in that store that scared me so much that I spent a little while not going. And that's like my favorite store. I'm there every other day. And I stopped going to the store altogether. I would send my husband to the store, but I would not go to the store. And the day of the election, I can't remember if it was the day of the election or the day after. I said, first of all, there's no reason why I should be afraid of who I am. And there's no reason why anybody should attack me for who I am. And I went to the store. And I'm not going to lie to you. The entire time I was in the store, I was biting my nails and biting my lower lip because I was terrified. Nothing happened, and nothing has happened in the last couple of days to me. That doesn't mean that I don't know people that stuff has happened to. I have a person that I love like the son I never had, who was told, and by the way, he was asked first if he was Puerto Rican. He was told, great, because now we can send you back to Mexico with all the other Mexicans. Now, either the person that said that does not know their own American history, or they don't know anything about geography, or both. Because the last time I looked, Puerto Rico is an island and it's nowhere near Mexico. And number two, if you studied your own history, if you're American, you know the story between Puerto Rico and the United States, and you know that what you just said is idiotic, to say the least. I was born with the American citizenship. Like it or not, I'm an American citizen. Not my problem if you have a problem with that. And I don't see why you would have. Here's the thing. Racism is based on ignorance, okay? Ignorance of history, ignorance of the facts, more importantly, ignorance of your own DNA. Because I dare any so-called white person to go ahead and run their own DNA and find out that they don't have blood from somewhere they don't know they have blood from. Okay? It has been scientifically proven that we're all mutts. I was born and raised as a mutt, so I don't care. I was always told I have Spaniard blood, and I have traced the Spaniard blood. I have traced the Taino blood, and I obviously have African blood. So I don't have a problem with being. In fact, I think that makes me a better person than the average person that doesn't know what they have, because I don't judge people by who they are based on their race, because I don't know what they really are. I mean, let's be honest. If I go out on the street and I don't open my mouth, nobody knows I'm not American, because I have white skin. And I tan very easily, and I turn red like a tomato, and then the next day it's gone. So that doesn't mean anything. Now ask me if just little circly things that you do when you fill out things, and they tell you what race are you white, black, or ask me if I answer that I'm white or black. I don't. First of all, it's nobody's business, and second of all, I'm not white or black. So I don't consider myself a color. That's ridiculous to me. It's always been ridiculous to me, and it's annoying, by the way. But let's go back to the point that I was trying to make from the beginning of this blog. I am entitled to have fear, or to feel fear. Okay? This election campaign, and this is the part that people don't understand. This election was very different from every other election because race was used as an issue. Nationality was used as an issue. Okay? And the problem with using that as an issue is that you went ahead and you riled up all kinds of feelings on people that some have forgotten and some were hiding behind. And the one thing that I agree with Trump on is the fact that I don't believe in politically correct, because I used to tell my daughter time and time again, the problem with politically correct is hypocrisy. Is that how you say hypocrisy? Because people will hide behind politically correct to not let you know how much they hate you because you're black, African American, Asian, Hispanic, whatever the heck you are. People hide behind politically correct. So that is the only thing I give him. However, I also told my daughter year after year after year, eventually, politically correct is going to go away. Because if you look at the history of the United States, we have more tolerant years, and then we have less tolerant years, and more tolerant and less tolerant. So that will go away too. When that does, when politically correct dies, it's going to be worse than before politically correct started. And sure enough, we're seeing it now. Now, to the people that want to deny my feelings because racism has always existed, yeah, you have a point. Racism has always existed, but like I said in the beginning of this video, I have lived here for 9 and 7, 16 years. And I have never been afraid of racist people. Because I've figured out a way of either ignoring them, or I just don't notice them anymore, or I just don't care. However, the type of racism that we're seeing now is violent. That's the difference. And the fact that I am fearful, and that I have a right to feel fearful, is what the problem is, because people are not listening to the fact that I'm fearful. They're just saying, well, you didn't vote for Trump and that's why you feel that way. That has nothing to do with it. Because at the end of the day, worse than Trump or whatever Trump can do, which I hope he does well, because to be honest with you, we need this country to do well. The followers that are fanatical in their devotion and their animosity towards any other race, those are the people that I'm afraid of. Those are the people that are sitting around vandalizing cars and writing "nigger, get out of here," or whatever, or "spick, get out of here," which would be the one directed at me. Those are the people that, and on the other side, of course, we have the people that are beating up Trump supporters because they voted for Trump. I mean, what the heck? You have every right to protest. It cracks me up that people that were supporting Trump were all about the Second Amendment, but they don't want to respect the other side's First Amendment to protest. Now, do I think we have a right to riot? No, definitely not. We go back to the whole violence thing again. I don't understand why you have to be violent. I also don't understand why you have to burn the flag. That I don't care if it's Puerto Rico's flag, American flag, Syrian flag, France flag. I don't care what country it is. You don't burn people's flags. I'm sorry, that is stupid. It's stupid. It is very disrespectful. People died in every country for that flag, whatever their country is. So the least you can do is be a little bit more respectful of the flag. And in the case of the United States, you should respect the American flag. I understand that freedom of speech allows you to burn the flag. I understand that. Just because something is permitted doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. And in the case of the flag, no, you should not burn the flag. You should not incite violence. You should not burn the flag. You also should allow people to protest. If they feel like protesting, mind your own business and just leave them alone. But the problem and the reason why I'm making this video is the fact that we have not learned the lesson of this election. The biggest lesson for this election is that we're not listening. We're not listening to each other. We all talk a very good game. Trump talked a good game. Hillary talked a good game. Everybody talked a good game. But nobody's listening. Because the reason why Trump won is not because Hillary was bad and he was better, or because his supporters, the hidden Trump voters, or because people decided to do a protest vote. None of that. That's not the reason why Trump won. The reason why Trump won, and the reason why Bernie Sanders had so many followers, is because people are tired. On both sides, we're all tired of the same crap over and over again. And the best proof you have that people are tired is that the United States is not the only country where something really weird happened in elections, based on how tired we all are of the same baloney. Are we listening to the people? No, we're not. We're not. We just keep telling our talking points, which is why I wish the election was back on, because people keep talking their same crap over and over again, and they do not respect and do not acknowledge that other people have feelings, fears, and that you should respect those. You should respect everybody's opinion. You don't have to agree with them. I don't have to agree with anybody that supported, I don't know, Jill Stein or I think Johnson was his name. I don't have to agree with them. I can understand why they voted for them. That doesn't mean I agree with them. I am married to a person that, politically speaking, is the exact opposite of me. The exact opposite. In Puerto Rico, we were on opposite ends of the spectrum, and in the United States, we're also on opposite ends of the spectrum. And you know what? We get along very well. We've been married for 28 years, 10 months, and I think it's 25 days. So it can be done. Surprise. Yes, it can be done. However, you know why we've been married for so long? Because we actually and this was not always the case, by the way, because in the first years, oh my God, that was a nightmare. But we actually listen to each other, because there are some things that he says that make sense to me, and there are some things I say from my point of view that make sense to him. If we actually sat down and listened to each other, instead of trying to invalidate everybody else's point of view, none of this would be happening. But the political parties are definitely not listening. And the average human being is not listening. And I have one more for you, which is the one that cracks me up the most and at the same time aggravates me the most, and the reason why I'm pretty much getting off social media. in certain, like, I'm not going into the pages as much as I used to be, and I'm going to tell you what it is. The irony of this is that the majority of people that completely ignore and invalidate my feelings are not white people. In fact, most of the white people I know have been very, very supportive. The irony of this entire situation is that the 4 or 5 people that are annoy me so much that I've blocked them out of Facebook, not really blocked them, there's a way that you can follow people and you can be friends and not follow people, that sort of thing. So I just have to unfollow them. The 4 or 5 people that are doing that, first of all, they're fanatics. I'm not a fanatic of any candidate because, well, I know they're all flawed. Let's put it that way. That's the most important thing. I know Hillary was flawed, and I definitely knew Trump was flawed. Johnson, whew, and Jill Stein, please, let's not get started on Jill Stein because I can sit here for hours talking about that woman. But I know all candidates have good points and bad points, and I agree with some on certain areas, and I didn't agree with some on certain areas, okay? I am not a fanatic in religion or politics because at the end of the day, I just know that people are flawed. The ideals that they represent might not have, actually the ideals also have flaws, but the people definitely have flaws. So I'm not a fanatic of anybody. But the funny thing about this whole thing is that every time I would post something on my personal page, by the way, it's my personal page, so I think I have a right to put whatever I want, 3 or 4 people would always come at me with the same crap. Oh, there's always been racism. Oh, this and that. Oh, my mom's... my favorite was, well, my mom's always talking about how people have been racist to her, but I've never seen it. Just because you've never seen it doesn't mean it never happened, first of all. Second of all, your mom has an accent. Of course she's had more things than the average person. Because when people have like a thick accent, everybody looks at them funny. So don't tell me she hasn't had anything because you didn't see it. Because guess what? I'm sure she's had several instances. But you're so blinded by your fanaticism of whoever you believe in that you invalidate your mother's feelings and fears. Funny how that didn't... She convinced you to do some things based on her fears, but you don't believe the one fear for racism that she has. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Okay? Other people. Oh, well, you can't live in fear, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I understand that I cannot live in fear, but I'm a Scorpio. I'm a woman, and I've lived my life in a certain way all my life, and there are certain things that I refuse to give up. The right to be skeptical of people? Yeah, I'm very good at that. And you know what? I have yet to fail one of my predictions on that. So if I don't trust you very much, there's a reason why I don't trust you. Because I pretty much trust 95% of the people. Sorry, my dog is barking. I trust 95% of the people. So if I don't trust you, black guy, if I don't trust you, there's a problem. So, what am I trying to say in this video? And I'm going to wrap it up because I didn't expect this video to be this long. Please, listen to your neighbors and to your friends. Instead of judging what they say, just be supportive. You can always say, look, I really think this is a good thing that happened. I understand that you're scared. Let time go so that I can prove to you that this is not as bad as you think it is. That is being supportive. Telling somebody that their feelings are not right is not supportive. Now, it goes both ways. Because I have people that didn't necessarily vote for Trump, but are hopeful that Trump is going to be a good president. Okay? Why? Okay. The average person, in my opinion, did not vote because they wanted to slap somebody or because they wanted to see somebody a lesson. The average person wanted what they thought was best for their country. If that is true and you come from that perspective, you can respect a person that voted for, excuse me, you can respect a person that voted for Trump. And even though you might not understand the logic of voting for somebody that has such racist and such misogynist rhetoric, you can still respect the decision that they made of voting for Trump because they honestly thought it was the best thing to do for the country. Okay? That's what I'm trying to tell you. Whatever side you're on, respect the other side's opinions and feelings on the outcome. You don't have to agree with somebody to respect their feelings. That's the only thing I beg you. Start listening. Instead of getting into an argument with every person that does not have the same opinion you do, actually listen to what they're saying. You might actually find some common ground, or at least find a way of supporting them without agreeing with them. It's like the old story. I remember when I was growing up, my dad used to tell me that if I did something bad, I should go and tell him, because he might not like what I did, and who would be the first one to turn me in, but that didn't mean that he didn't love me. It's the same logic, people. You don't have to agree with somebody to care for them and be supportive. That's all I'm saying. If your child right now, if you have children and one of your children ended up in jail, would you stop loving your child and visiting your child? No. You might not agree with what they did, and you might agree that they need to be in jail, but you never stop supporting your children. You don't never stop loving your children. That's what an average normal human being would do. Now, if you have antisocial personality disorder, that's a completely different story. But if you're a normal human being, you would support your child no matter what. Well, all I'm asking you is, if you really love your friends and your neighbors, support them. Now, one caveat. If the person is openly racist to you, or they think they're better than you, then I understand if you don't want to hang out with that person anymore. That's a completely different story, and I'm not going to talk about that on this video. But if it's a normal, average person that just voted for what they thought was better for their country, be supportive. If it's a person that voted for Hillary or for someone else and is truly fearful, support them. You don't have to agree to support somebody. That's all for today. You have a wonderful week, and please stay positive. We can see better things happening if we stay positive when we talk to each other. Thank you, and have a great day.